In the small town of Sheridan, Oregon, things are usually quiet.
A lot more people know everybody, know their neighbors. They get involved. There's a lot of volunteerism.
Industry rarely makes headlines in a place like this. But just outside of town, beside the highway and behind the fence line, sits a massive wood-preserving facility operated by Montreal-based company Stella-Jones. And it's here that Oregon regulators say they uncovered years of environmental law violations.
Stella-Jones, penta everywhere, spill city, every day.
The video you're seeing is from a whistleblower who worked at Stella-Jones in 2022 and 2023.
Penta, whole lot of penta.
When he says penta, he's talking about pentachlorophenol, a highly toxic wood preservative used to treat utility poles. State and federal regulators classify it as a probable carcinogen. For that reason, the chemical is supposed to stay inside large sealed tanks called retorts. But dozens of photos, videos, and DEQ inspection reports document spills, unreported releases, wastewater discharges that exceeded permit limits, and hazardous waste stored improperly, including chemical wastewater that made its way into the Yamhill River.
So it's a large amount of chemicals going into your fresh water, streams, creeks, the ground, the soil around it is all going to be contaminated with a carcinogen.
The Oregon DEQ documented more than 30 incidents at the facility between 2021 and early 2025, leading to a more than $1 million penalty. One of the more serious violations, the company is charged with dumping nearly 4 million pounds of hazardous waste in municipal landfills, not meant to accept hazardous waste. And the DEQ notes the company didn't have a permit to treat, store, or dispose of hazardous waste in the first place. In another incident in August of 2023, DEQ says more than 24,000 gallons of chemical mixture spilled from a retort at Stella-Jones. About 2,400 gallons escaped containment, flowing into the stormwater system and the city of Sheridan sewer system, connected to the Yamhill River. During the summer, when Sheridan's normal clean water reservoir is too low, the town pulls drinking water directly from the river.
It happened a few weeks, a month before in, July, and we were pulling drinking water from the river. That could have gotten into the water system and people could have been drinking it.
Stella-Jones says they tested the river for chemicals following that 2023 incident, and they say the test all came back negative. But Sheridan Mayor Cale George says local leaders never knew what was happening, even as state and federal investigations were underway.
I don't know why no one was told. I don't know why I didn't know. And I hope this isn't happening anywhere else.
But there were early signs.
So within 30 minutes, I was having a hard time hearing.
Sheridan resident Sarah Newport worked for a company that repaired Stella-Jones motors and pumps for 3 years. She often handled the equipment herself, that is, until she started getting sick.
I was not making the connection at that point because I was under the assumption that Stella-Jones was following the protocol on how to clean out the pumps before they even came to our property. And that was when we made contact with Poison Control. They recommended that I go to the emergency room and get IV fluids to process these chemicals if the symptoms got worse.
Newport eventually waited the symptoms out, but still has questions about the practices at the facility. Is Stella-Jones a safe company?
Absolutely.
But if you ask Stella-Jones Senior Vice President Kevin Comerford about the claims, he'll tell you they're largely exaggerated.
I think they all stem from a small series of sort of, I'll say, one-off incidents.
The company is appealing the more than $1 million civil penalty from the Oregon DEQ, arguing the state mischaracterized both the scale and severity of what happened.
I will say that no exceedance is acceptable to us, and there have been a few isolated instances where we have had minor exceedances, and we've immediately taken action. We send that information to the state right away.
Comerford says Stella-Jones has invested millions of dollars into safety upgrades and that the violations don't reflect the company's day-to-day operations. We weren't allowed to film those safety upgrades ourselves, but the company sent us these videos of some of them, including a new stormwater treatment system and new carbon filtration systems.
In this case, you think there was clear willfulness and negligence?
Yeah, yes.
Despite the ongoing dispute with DEQ, the company has admitted to wrongdoing. They pleaded guilty to 10 criminal counts of unlawful water pollution in September. In a separate criminal case, Attorney General Dan Rayfield helped prosecute, agreeing to pay $250,000 in fines and accept probation. Rayfield says what pushed this case into criminal court wasn't a single incident, but a pattern.
The biggest issue that you have here, again, from our perspective, we're looking at is obviously the harm that's caused, but then most importantly is the repeated nature and the culture that's created.
In other words, prosecutors say this wasn't about a mistake, it was about systemic failures. And while some in the community question why the plant is still operating, Rayfield says his office is limited by what the law allows.
Each what I would say agency has its own tools, and those tools are bound by what the legislature allows us to do. What we're focused on is transparency, accountability, making sure it doesn't happen again.
Meantime, the company continues operating under increased oversight from regulators, and while their case with DEQ plays out, for residents in Sheridan like Mayor Cale George, the questions now aren't just about what happened, but whether this time accountability will be enough to prevent it from happening again.
They don't have my complete trust, not now, not after what happened. And that'll take a while to get it back, at least for me.